We're often told to go big or go home, to hustle harder, push faster, be intense. We see the highlight reels, the overnight success, the lightning strike of brilliance. But what if the real key to lasting achievement isn't found in the explosive burst, but in the quiet rhythm of showing up? Welcome to our channel. This is Maya. Like many of us, Maya had a dream simmering for years to write a novel. The idea felt monumental, overwhelming. She'd tried before, dedicating entire weekends to frantic writing sessions, fueled by caffeine and sheer willpower. She'd lock herself in a room, determined to produce the next bestseller. But by Sunday evening, her grand total was usually a few thousand words and a growing sense of frustration. Then there was Ben, a colleague or friend of Maya's, always living on the edge of intensity. He'd dive headfirst into a new pursuit, a crash diet, learning a new language in a month, launching a side hustle overnight. His energy was infectious, his initial results often impressive. He'd hit the gym every day for 2 hours, then tell everyone about his new healthy lifestyle. He'd post online about his language learning, sharing vocabulary lists and tips. With his side hustle, he'd pitch ideas passionately, convinced he was on the brink of something big. And for a while, Ben thrived in this cycle. The thrill of the new, the rush of the challenge, the satisfaction of ticking off the next item on his to-do list. But Ben rarely finished. The intensity required for these pursuits wasn't sustainable. Plateaus felt like failures. When the initial excitement waned, so did his commitment. The gym became a chore, the language learning tedious, the side hustle, well, it was just another thing on his never-ending list. The achievements he celebrated so publicly often faded as quickly as they'd appeared. His landscape was littered with impressive beginnings and forgotten ambitions. Meanwhile, Maya kept dreaming about finishing her novel. She loved reading, devouring stories, and imagining herself in different worlds. She'd always have a book by her bedside, each one leaving a tiny seed of inspiration. But the actual writing process terrified her, so she procrastinated, seeking comfort in the familiar routine of her job, the predictable rhythm of her life. Then one day, something shifted for Maya. She was scrolling through social media and came across a quote that stopped her. "The heaviest weight at the gym is the front door." It resonated deeply. She realized the biggest barrier to her dreams wasn't a lack of talent or opportunity, it was inaction. The blank page staring back at her from her notebook was less intimidating than the thought of failing. The unfinished manuscripts piling up in her computer felt safer than the dream of publication. She was stuck in a cycle of perfectionism, paralyzed by the fear of not doing it perfectly. And then she made a decision. Instead of waiting for inspiration to strike or for the perfect moment to present itself, she started showing up. Every single morning, before the chaos of the day began, she would sit down for just 30 minutes. No pressure to be brilliant, no requirement to write thousands of words. Just show up and write something. Some days were frustratingly slow. She'd write a single paragraph, delete half of it, question her abilities, doubt her purpose. But she stayed for the full 30 minutes. On other days, the words would flow, sentences would connect, and paragraphs would take shape. But she still stayed for the full 30 minutes. She knew the value of the routine, the importance of the habit. Months went by, and Maya's notebook began to fill up with her story. The blank pages became fewer and fewer, replaced by characters, plot, dialogue. The rhythm of her life had been gently nudged forward, inch by inch, word by word. She had no idea how long it would take to finish the whole book, but she was no longer afraid. She wasn't aiming for perfection, she was aiming for progress. Meanwhile, Ben was still diving into new pursuits, throwing himself into them with his usual intensity, draining himself physically and emotionally. He told everyone about his latest venture, but his excitement was starting to sound forced, his confidence a bit shaky. People noticed, and rightly so. Ben was losing steam. One day, Maya bumped into Ben in the hallway. He was breathless, slightly disheveled, but still enthusiastic. Hey Maya, you won't believe it. I'm learning coding now, gonna build an app. It's gonna be huge. Totally immersive, 10 hours a day on weekends, he said, barely pausing for breath. What about you? Still thinking about that novel? He asked dismissively. Hi, Ben. That sounds exciting, Maya said with a smile. Yeah, I'm still working on the novel. Slowly chipping away, she replied, not meeting his gaze. Ben didn't understand it. Nobody did. How could she still be working on that old project? Didn't she realize how much time she'd spent on it already? How many false starts? How many abandoned chapters? He knew, because he'd invested a lot of time and energy into helping her brainstorm ideas, encouraging her to keep going, but it hadn't worked. He walked away, shaking his head, thinking she just didn't get it. You had to go hard or go home. Life was too short to waste on slow, steady efforts. But as he walked, his phone vibrated with another notification about his coding course, reminding him that tonight's lesson was on object-oriented programming. He sighed, dreading the screen time. He'd planned to spend tonight pitching his new business idea, but the course was essential. He had to complete the lessons to progress. He grumbled under his breath, feeling trapped in a cycle he couldn't escape. Back at her desk, Maya opened her notebook. It was thicker now, filled with months of her thoughts, ideas, revisions. She turned to her word count tracker, a simple spreadsheet she'd created to monitor her progress. The graph showed a steadily climbing line, each point representing a new day, a new effort, a new step closer to her goal. She hadn't realized it at the time, but the intensity she'd once devoted to weekend writing sprints was now spread evenly across the weeks, months even. Her current rate of progress was far greater than anything she'd achieved before, and it was sustainable. She closed her eyes, remembering the feeling of near-daily rejection when she'd quit her job to pursue writing full-time. She missed the financial security, the predictability of her old life. But now, sitting in the quiet of her home office, listening to the rain outside, she felt a sense of peace. Her dream wasn't a distant hope anymore. It was something she was actively creating, page by page, word by word. She thought of Ben, still running hard, still chasing the next big thing. She knew he was talented, passionate, but something was missing. He never finished what he started. He never crossed the finish line. She understood now why her novel was progressing and Ben's coding skills weren't translating into a marketable app, why her story was taking shape and his side hustles remained just that, side hustles. They had everything to do with the difference between their approaches. Maya was showing up every single day, not because she expected immediate results, not because she craved recognition, but because it mattered to her. She knew the journey wouldn't be linear, that there would be days when progress seemed impossible, that there would be times when the effort felt futile, but she also knew that every word she wrote, every sentence she crafted, brought her closer to her goal. On the other hand, Ben was pursuing intensity. He was drawn to the initial excitement, the rush of a new challenge, the promise of quick results. He wanted to make a splash, to be known for his many pursuits, to have a story to tell. But in his quest for intensity, he was sacrificing depth, the depth that comes from sustained effort, the depth that allows you to cross the finish line. As the years passed, Maya continued to show up. Her routine didn't change. She still wrote for just 30 minutes a day, but the results did. The sum of her small efforts compounded over time, becoming something greater, something she couldn't have imagined on those early mornings when she first sat down to write. Ben, on the other hand, continued to chase intensity, to jump from one venture to the next, never quite committing enough to see any of them through. He became a master of starts, not finishes. One day, Maya held a printed manuscript in her hands, the culmination of years of work, the answer to a childhood dream. She looked at the stack of books on her desk, each one representing a milestone in her journey. She smiled, knowing that none of it would have been possible without the quiet power of consistency. She learned the profound truth: the grand gesture might catch the eye, but the steady hand, the unwavering commitment, the simple act of showing up consistently, that's what truly builds mastery. That's what achieves the dream. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself caught between the allure of intensity and the demands of consistency? Which path have you chosen, and what has been your experience? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Together, let's continue to explore the depths of human potential and strive for greatness in our own lives. Thank you for watching. Until next time.